Towering mountain ranges stretched across the land, and above the mountains was a great space whirlpool. A silver-winged and silver-armored man walked out of the whirlpool. He stood in the sky and looked around. All was silent. "Based on the information I have," said Luo Feng, "during the first few hundred of years when the original stars were open, it was more likely for valuables to be born, and the great beings who had suppressed their desire for an eternity were more excited. This led to more killings. However, after that time, almost all the great beings have gone into hiding." Luo Feng shook his wing and started to fly. He looked down at the ground. Although he had arrived at another original star, there weren't significant differences among the original stars. After flying for half an hour, he saw a purple object in a lake in a mountain valley below. "Ha!" He immediately dove, stood on the lake with his feet, and walked to the target. "What is this?" Luo Feng picked it up and examined it. It was a purple cloth that was about 30 square feet in size. Luo Feng penetrated it with a trace of his godly power, and the information contained in it flooded his mind. The treasure was called Imitation of Purple Sky. The invisible godly power could immediately enlarge the purple cloth to cover enemies instantly. Although it was only a treasure, it was the first time that Luo Feng had seen a treasure that looked like a cloth. He sensed that it was a top-tier spiritual force weapon. "Imitation of Purple Sky?" Luo Feng whispered. "The name is bizarre. Could there be a more powerful valuable named Purple Sky? Why would a valuable born in the original stars is called Imitation of Purple Sky?" The more Luo Feng thought about it, the more mysterious he found the universe to be. He already stood among the supreme beings in the universe, but there were still many secrets waiting for him to uncover. "This treasure might be worth thousands of treasure points. I'm really lucky." Luo Feng smiled. This was what usually happened in the original stars, and many great beings were aware that there were numerous valuables on the original stars. However, there were usually many great beings gathering here as well. No matter how many valuables one obtained, once he was killed, he was doing others a favor. Only those with great power could roam the original stars. Like Luo Feng. Luo Feng didn't need to be afraid of universe overlords anymore. As for universe masters, they couldn't teleport themselves on the original stars. And if a universe master arrived, Luo Feng would have known about it through the virtual universe and hid himself away. Besides, with Luo Feng's power, universe masters' control over space and time didn't intimidate him. Luo Feng strolled on the original star as if he were in the garden of his own home. He was waiting for an opportunity, and his remote ocean body was connected to the virtual universe and waiting for the update about Tianyang Night. Once he got it, Luo Feng would immediately race to where Tianyang Night was. 29 hours after Luo Feng arrived at the original star, a giant, two-headed being lay in the forest. His skin looked like purple crystals. The armor on his godly body was dimming, and he was lying there, waiting for an opportunity. He was an energy life form, a great being from the purple smelting race. The fact that he was walking alone on the original stars proved that he was a universe overlord. Energy life forms were one of the few races who were naturally immune to soul attacks, and the purple smelting race belonged to that category. They preferred to be closer to the ground. Many life forms loved to sit when they practiced, but great beings from the purple smelting race loved to lie down. Flourishing Light Horde leader lay with one of his head's eyes closed while the other had them open, fully alert. All his eyes suddenly opened, and he spotted a human shape flying across the sky between the leaves of the forest. "It's a human?" Flourishing Light Horde leader stood up. "A silver wing? And that look?" Flourishing Light Horde leader looked shocked. "Isn't that the legendary talent of the human race, Luo Feng? That true treasure wing, how is it possible? Though that human killed Bark Mirror Emperor, he is, after all, only undying. He is, at most, as powerful as a secondary universe knight, and those who dare to show up on the original stars are at least senior universe knights." Flourishing Light Horde leader was thrilled to see Luo Feng. After all, Purple Smelting Race was one of the numerous races that belonged to the Northern Territory Alliance, and Bark Mirror Emperor who had been killed by Luo Feng was from the Northern Territory Alliance. The great beings from the Northern Territory Alliance surely knew about Luo Feng. Additionally, the great beings who had inside information had already extrapolated that this peerless genius had at least 6 true treasures. A soul-type true treasure, a spiritual force weapon true treasure, a wing true treasure, and an armor true treasure. Plus, he had at least 2 true treasures from the ancestral god school. 6 true treasures were much more than all that many universe overlords had. especially soul-type true treasures, which were ardently desired by universe overlords. They all perceived Luo Feng to be weak, as he was only undying. He was like a human-shaped, moving vault full of valuables available for the taking. There were even discussions within the Northern Territory Alliance that if Luo Feng entered original stars, it would be like giving true treasures away to those lucky great beings of other races. However, all the races had assumed that Luo Feng wouldn't be stupid enough to enter the original stars. Based on the information gathered, Luo Feng hadn't gone to the original stars in the past 20,000 years. He's here? And I haven't got any news? Am I the first one to find him? Both of Flourishing Light Horde leader heads were raised up and looked at Luo Feng as he flew. He's a peerless genius in the human race. I didn't think he'd be stupid enough to put himself in danger. He was both exhilarated and wary. Luo Feng surely had something to save himself. However, after hesitating for 3 seconds, Flourishing Light Horde leader reached a conclusion. Humph! He's only undying. Even if he has a trump card to save himself, can that kill me? Only Universe Masters are able to do that. It's impossible for him to hide a Universe Master in his world ring. Flourishing Light Horde leader smirked. I don't need to worry about what he has. He can't threaten my life. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, thought Flourishing Light Horde leader. A human-shaped moving vault full of valuables. I can get at least 6 true treasures if I kill him, and I can exchange one of his true treasures for a senior true treasure armor. The soul-type true treasure Luo Feng had was useless to him, as he was a life form from purple smelting race, but he could still exchange it for something he desired. It's an opportunity one can't miss. If I do, I'll regret it for billions of years. The eyes on Flourishing Light Horde leader glinted fiercely. So, he started to speed up in silence-eyed the forest. As for Luo Feng, he was flying in the sky at a moderate speed and looking down at the ground, and Flourishing Light Horde leader caught up with Luo Feng immediately. Luo Feng didn't notice Flourishing Light Horde leader at the beginning, but Luo Feng saw him when he flew out of the forest. Human! Flourishing Light Horde leader surged, and his purple crystal skin was glowing. Both of his heads turned to face Luo Feng, and his eyes glared at him. Luo Feng looked down and frowned. Flourishing Light Horde leader from the Northern Territory Alliance? Luo Feng immediately identified him and took out his cutting pearl sword. Die! Flourishing Light Horde leader shouted. All 6 arms of Flourishing Light Horde leader reached out, glowing with a cold light, and when they approached each other, Hong! Long! Long! Their surroundings were trapped in Time Law domain, which also affected Luo Feng. Flourishing Light Horde leader took the chance and attacked him. He puts all his efforts into fighting me, the legendary undying fighter, Luo Feng thought. He used law domain first, after which he is now going to start attacking me. No wonder he is a universe overlord. Hua! 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 The sky started to glimmer as if stars were shining, but all the lights looked aggressive. It was as if they all sought to kill Luo Feng directly. Luo Feng still held his cutting pearl sword still after seeing this. Flourishing Light Horde leader-s technique, Flourishing Light World? Luo Feng nodded. I'll use you to test the training I've had in the past 180 million years. Luo Feng, who had already burned his godly power, started to move the sword in his hands. Meanwhile, engravings showed up on the blade. The engravings were delicate, elegant, and mesmerizing. When Luo Feng waved the sword, gold and space merge law were triggered. You dared to fight back? Said Flourishing Light Horde leader. Even if you have an ordinary true treasure armor, you'll die under this attack. And then, Flourishing Light Horde leader was terrified. What is that? He gasped. A gleaming, golden light. Cold. Fierce. It slashed through all the flourishing lights, and the technique of Flourishing Light Horde leader was shattered smash like an ant. The golden light hit Flourishing Light Horde leader's armor, and the power was so strong that the ordinary true treasure armor could only weaken half the power from the attack. The rest of the attacking power was all taken by Flourishing Light Horde leader's body. Howl! A roaring sound from afar blasted the ears of Flourishing Light Horde leader. Aye! Flourishing Light Horde leader still floated in the sky. And then, just like that, his godly body was annihilated and disappeared into thin air. Only his black armor and 6 lights were left. Luo Feng stood in the sky and smiled. Under the control of his godly power, the black armor that was suspended in midair and the 6 hovering lights made a turn and flew toward Luo Feng. An ordinary true treasure armor, said Luo Feng. 6 ordinary true treasures weapons should be considered as a series. It has a value that is comparable to a senior true treasure weapon. Luo Feng stored the true treasures and then summoned a world ring to him from afar. This world ring had fallen to the floor immediately after Flourishing Light Horde leader was annihilated. Upon checking its contents, Luo Feng only found a dozen or more treasures and some other things. Their accumulated value was not even the value of an ordinary true treasure. After killing Flourishing Light Horde leader, Luo Feng gathered the loot from his victory. His human godly body was set ablaze to display his most powerful trump card and was hence greatly consumed. However, there was his remote ocean body to supplement whatever was lacking. Thus, he was able to maintain a pinnacle condition. So, the moment Luo Feng spread his wings, he transformed into a beam of light and took off. His speed was neither too fast nor too slow. He maintained his flying speed near to the speed of light. His surroundings were quiet. There was no movement, no traces. No one would be able to tell that a universe overlord had just annihilated been at that very spot just moments before. The Northern Territory Alliance had an immensely large territory under its control, and within the starry sky where the purple smelting race lived in, there was a life planet that was dark red all over. The palace of Flourishing Light Horde leader could be found on that planet. The palace was not big, but it was considered to be one of the sacred grounds of the purple smelting race. The purple smelting race had a total of 6 existing universe overlords. Universe overlords were by far the strongest beings within the race, which was why the entire race was divided into 6 different territories, each managed and cultivated by these 6 universe overlords. From within the palace, several disciples and servants bowed in worship as they watched a faraway figure approaching. It was the body that Flourishing Light Horde leader had left behind before he made his way to the original star. This body was weak, but it was, after all, Flourishing Light Horde leader's consciousness, so it could still provide guidance to disciples and handle certain matters without a hitch. Flourishing Light Horde leader revealed a shocked expression. Pun! Suddenly, he was annihilated and dissipated into thin air. Horde leader! Teacher! 3 disciples and a bunch of personal servants who were waiting in the distance were in great shock. The area surrounding this planet was in a sealed space, so even Flourishing Light Horde leader could not teleport and leave the planet. So how did his body suddenly disappear? Don't worry, there must be some very important matters that needed teacher's undivided attention, so he has retracted his godly consciousness. Then, of course, the body will disappear. Let us take a look at the tokens teacher gave us. Let us take a look at the tokens. The 3 disciples immediately took out the tokens. The tokens were all parts of a collection of Flourishing Light Horde leader's belongings. They were all items that had his life imprint. They were valuables that recognized their owners. Once these items were crushed, Flourishing Light Horde leader would sense the urgency and go to his disciples' rescue. The token has become an object without an owner. A high-pitched voice suddenly shouted from among the disciples. 2 other voices corresponded with the same comment, adding to the bleak and grim atmosphere. An object without a master! Mine too! An object without a master! The 3 disciples of the purple smelting race looked at one another, eyes filled with fear and uneasiness. They had no doubts about what this situation meant. For an object that recognizes its master, there were only 2 ways to reverse this recognition. One was for the master to personally remove his life imprint on the object, and the other was for the master to be killed. Since Flourishing Light Horde leader was not present, there was no way he could have personally removed his life imprints. Then the answer was undoubtedly that Flourishing Light Horde leader had been annihilated. Hurry up! We have to quickly notify the other Horde leaders. Quick! Immediately! Notify the higher-ups! 6 universe overlords oversaw the entire purple smelting race. If one got annihilated, it would be equivalent to the collapse of one of the race's pillars of support. This, to the purple smelting race, was a very scary blow. A short while later, 3 universe overlords of the purple smelting race who had not entered the original star came rushing over. First and foremost, they asked Flourishing Light Horde leader's disciples questions about what happened. Then they dismissed all the disciples and servants. In the palace, the 3 universe overlords who took the form of purple crystal-skinned, 2-headed life forms stood in their designated spots. The atmosphere was suffocating. Flourishing Light was annihilated. Who could kill Flourishing Light? And to think he did not even have the chance to ask for help. Flourishing Light owns an ordinary true treasure armor, and his attack techniques were strong. To kill him, could it have been a Universe Master? Even if it was a Universe Master, it must be one of the most powerful Universe Overlords. The three of them fell in silence. Flourishing Light Horde leader, Luo Feng Knight, Pei Feng Knight, and Shi Blood Palace leader were all considered normal Universe Overlords. There were some other powerful ones. For instance, there were special life forms of the Universe Overlord level with life genes level of 8,000 or 9,000 times. Their godly powers were pure those of normal Universe Overlords by 100 times. When launching attacks, their powers would be 100 times stronger, too. Furthermore, these powerful Universe Overlords would be obtaining even stronger true treasures. Their combat powers would certainly be extremely strong. With godly bodies that were massive in size, even if they were to go head-on with Universe Masters, they would be able to hold out for a long time. Going into the original star, there is always a risk of being killed. We had better banish that thought. If someone is able to defeat Flourishing Light, we, the purple smelting race, really cannot afford to offend them. The three Universe Overlords nodded in unison. We have to enlist help from the Northern Territory Alliance to resurrect Flourishing Light. Flourishing Light is a Universe Overlord. His resurrection is only possible at the hands of Main Master of Alliance, but Main Master's temperament is notorious. I'm afraid we have to wait for his mood to brighten up before we can ask him to help resurrect Flourishing Light. Elementary Universe Knights, Secondary Universe Knights, Senior Universe Knights, once they were annihilated, it would usually not take too long for them to be resurrected. If there was a delay, it would, at most, be 1,000 to 10,000 years. But in the case of Universe Overlords, things were not that simple. In the whole of the Northern Territory Alliance, only Main Master of Alliance had the ability to resurrect a Universe Overlord. Other Universe Masters were unable to do so. Even if the Main Master of Alliance was caught up in some other matters for billions of years, no one would dare make a single utterance. Heck, let us just submit our application to the Alliance. Then we will wait patiently. Agreed. When Flourishing Light comes back, we will know how he was annihilated. The original star was closing up on the land of origin of the universe. Cruising the sky of the original star, the feeling was wonderful. Luo Feng smiled while on the move, reminiscing about the battle earlier on. My first time going all out in a battle, the power is massive. Luo Feng was extremely satisfied with his power. It is unquestionably an ultimate technique of a Universe Master. The amount of godly power it consumes is alarming. If I did not have remote ocean body consistently supplementing me with energy, I think just that one stance alone would be enough to lose half of my godly body. Previously, in the Beast God sector, when Luo Feng and Ancestor were engaged in combat, he did not have to burn his godly body to become an undying body. When his body was not set ablaze, no matter how long he had to toil through a battle, he would not be consuming much of his godly power. However, in the battle of life and death, Luo Feng had to burn his godly body. Like Shi Blood Palace leader and Demon Sword Knight, when displaying their ultimate skills, they, too, would consume much of their godly bodies. And Luo Feng's ultimate technique of a Universe Master, Golden Light, was on a much higher level compared to those of Shi Blood Palace leader and Demon Sword Knight. Luo Feng's consumption of energy was unintentional, but after the Golden Light absorbed his godly power, it consumed more than half his godly body. Of course, Remote Ocean Body was rapidly supplementing him with what was lost. What a large consumption! The force was insanely strong. Too strong, said Luo Feng. I could feel his ordinary true treasure armor becoming helplessly weak under my blade. If I were to just increase the strength of my attack by one level, I think I would have destroyed that true treasure. Luo Feng analyzed the situation himself. 9,800 times of the life genes level, 100 times of godly power amplification. Luo Feng's godly body was not inferior to that of a general Universe Overlord. Even for the one and only special life forms such as the World Tree in the Ancestral God's secret region and the Cold Whale, they might be Universe Overlords, but their battling powers were comparable to those of Universe Masters. And their godly powers were purer than Luo Feng's by just 2 levels. But Luo Feng's ultimate technique of a Universe Master was stronger than those of the World Tree and Cold Whale by 2 levels. The advantages he had in terms of his secret technique made up for the lack of godly power. The moment Luo Feng displayed his ultimate technique of a Universe Master, he would be comparable to the powerful special life forms of Universe Overlords. His true treasure armor was simply substandard, weakened to only half his power. Of course his godly body would be annihilated. If he had a senior true treasure armor, I guess I might only have been able to injure him. To kill him, I would have needed a few more strikes. This exemplified the importance of armor. Even for Universe Masters, not many could achieve attacks that would bring force armor to its limit. 180 million years of cultivation has indeed brought me great success. Luo Feng nodded with satisfaction. He was highly accomplished in the studies of pictures of secret engravings, making the mastering of space laws a breeze. Although it had only been a few days since he left the Beast God sector, he already comprehended the final space law, which was none other than the mysterious and complex strangulation. Now, all he needed to do was combine 3 space laws, namely teleportation, space sealing, and strangulation, into one. Then he would become a universe master. However, the final stage posed a small challenge to Luo Feng. Just like how some great beings were highly accomplished in space laws, yet were stuck in the final stage of the gold laws, Luo Feng was highly successful until now. He was slightly affected at his current stage. Just like Sitting Mountain Guest had said, a breakthrough could happen anytime, regardless of how slow he was. 1,000 years would be more than enough to become a universe master. When I become a universe overlord, my godly body will be comparable to powerful special life forms like World Tree and Cold Whale. I will be even stronger in my techniques. By then I will have to go all out in becoming a universe master. Luo Feng was secretly looking forward to this. By then, I will be able to make use of Star Tower readily. Luo Feng smiled, then continued flying. He was waiting for the next great being like Flourishing Light Horde leader to make a move against him. Bring it on. I am the mobile treasury. Luo Feng smirked. In one of the hilly valleys amidst the deserted plains, 3 senior universe knights from the Thorn Ring Alliance were hiding. They were silently waiting for energy waves. Among them, Jichi Knight was appalled when he raised his head to look up at the sky. He immediately transmitted what he found aloud. Look! That is the human form of Luo Feng! Luo Feng? Are you referring to the human fellow who is always so lucky? The other 2 universe knights looked up with a jerk. The 3 looked very carefully and tried to make out who the figure was. Silver armor, silver wings, and a black-haired human form. It is him! It's the human form of Luo Feng. It's him. He has at least 6 true treasures on him. And that is definitely a soul-type true treasure, and even possibly a flying palace-type true treasure. He dares to come to the original star. This extraordinary genius really thinks he is invincible? Such arrogance. Arrogance is good. He is a mobile treasury in human form. But this human form of Luo Feng might have a strong backing. What backing? Even if there is a universe overlord in the word ring protecting him in secret, what can he do? The weeds around them kept them hidden from view. As they looked up at the figure flying across the sky, all 3 felt their hearts burning. The shortest yet sturdiest 4-hoofed being transmitted his thoughts as the other 2 universe knights immediately lent him their undivided attention. We have to succeed. Our powers put together will be far stronger than his. Once he escapes, he will take off at a speed near light speed. Then we will not be able to catch up anymore. I have a plan, and I will make it a point to prevent him from escaping. The 4-hoofed being started to transmit his voice, and the 2 universe knights listened to it carefully. The 4-hoofed being finished the entire plan in less than 1 second, though they had been staring at Luo Feng, who was flying in the sky in silence. He was their prey, and it would be easy to get his true treasures. Get out! The 4-hoofed being gave an order, but he was shocked after that. Hong! Hong! 2 beings flew toward Luo Feng from 2 different directions. The 4-hoofed being and Jichi Knight could see clearly that one of the beings who dashed at Luo Feng had a godly body that was more than 300 feet long with dozens of claws. His knees were covered with hair, and the green eye he had on his face was glinting with fierceness and greediness. As for the other, he looked like a human, but he was of bug race. He was lanky with blade-shaped hands. They're in the lead! Jichi Knight opened his eyes wide. They're from the Northern Territory Alliance! Our plan, another knight said anxiously. The 4-hoofed being roared. Forget the plan! Let us attack him! Hong! 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 3 beams of light shot to the sky and flew toward Luo Feng. Both of the universe knights from the Northern Territory Alliance were nervous as well. The strange beast knight transmitted his growling voice. It's the bastards from the Thorn Ring Alliance! We were the ones who found Luo Feng first. Don't let them take him! Luo Feng is ours! Shouted the lanky knight, clenching his teeth and looking fierce. Luo Feng was the calmest one. He flew leisurely in the sky and saw universe knights of other races flying toward him. He immediately identified them. Kubai Knight and Ba Xiu Knight from the Northern Territory Alliance. Ba Xiu Knight has an enormous godly body, much larger than the body of Flourishing Light Horde Leader who I killed before. Flourishing Light Horde Leader is around 30 feet tall, but he's over 300 feet tall, but I bet he doesn't have a true treasure armor. I can kill him with one move. Universe Overlords' godly bodies were not much better at defense than senior Universe Knights usually. Universe Overlords relied on their true treasure armor. Ordinary true treasure armors were enough when it came to attacks from ordinary Overlords. However, in the case of the World Tree, the Cold Whale, and Purple Rain Knight, ordinary true treasure armors wouldn't help much. Only senior true treasure armors or their better could protect one from being killed after one move. Of course, if one's godly body was over 600 miles long, like that of Golden Horn Beast's body, he could survive longer even if he only had an ordinary true treasure armor. But if one didn't have an adequately sized godly body or senior true treasure armor, they would be walking toward their own demise if they were dealing with top-tier universe overlords like World Tree, Cold Whale, Purple Rain Knight, or Luo Feng. Of course, no one alive on the original stars knew of Luo Feng's real power. The only one who knew about it was already dead. They still thought of him as a human-shaped moving treasure vault. Another 3? Luo Feng glanced around. Jiqi Knight, Zhuka Knight, and Sunya Knight from Thorn Ring Alliance. Are they all senior universe knights? Well, they're not a threat to me. Hong! Luo Feng waved his wing and sped up, starting to flee. He's running away! Don't let him run away! Quick! That direction! Kubai Knight and Ba Xiu Knight from the Northern Territory Alliance grew anxious. Though they were not afraid of the 3 great beings from the Thorn Ring Alliance, they only had 2 beings while the Northern Territory Alliance had 3. Besides, their power was at the same level. Luo Feng might be seized by the great beings from the Thorn Ring Alliance. Chase him! Hurry up! Let us separate and encircle him. The 3 knights from the Thorn Ring Alliance went 3 different ways and tried to outflank Luo Feng. Their speed surged. 1. Both Time Law Domain and Space Law Domain arrived, and they started to stop Luo Feng. Want to run away? Haha, Luo Feng! You're coming to the original stars for your death. Kubai Knight grinned hideously, and a circle showed up around his hand. He threw it out, and the circle started to bulge. It dashed toward Luo Feng at light speed under the control of godly power. The 3 Universe Knights from the Thorn Ring Alliance also grew anxious, but they couldn't do anything, as the Universe Knight from Northern Territory Alliance had a spiritual force weapon. Don't worry, that Luo Feng has a spiritual force weapon true treasure, Jiqi Knight said. They were relatively farther from Luo Feng, as they had taken off later. That's right! Luo Feng has a spiritual force true treasure weapon. Want to catch me? Luo Feng roared. Hua! Luo Feng held his right first, and stars showed up in the sky. All the 1,000 stars had tightly carved engravings on them, and they formed a gigantic beast god under the godly power. The beast god roared and raced toward that circle. The beast god's tail slashed at the circle. The circle bounced away, and it tried to charge Luo Feng again under Kubai Knight's control. It wanted to dodge beast god, who splashed it away again. Kubai Knight clenched his teeth. No wonder it's a spiritual force weapon true treasure. It's so powerful. Ha! You can't run away! Ba Xiu Knight made a rumbling voice and started to stop Luo Feng. Luo Feng turned around. The 3 Universe Knights from the Thorn Ring Alliance also started to approach Luo Feng from 3 different directions. 5 Universe Knights were encircling Luo Feng in the sky, and Luo Feng was like prey trying to flee. He manipulated his spiritual force weapon to resist his enemies. Hong! Hong! The power from the clash between 2 spiritual force weapons spread. Energy ripple? Fight? It must be a set treasure or a true treasure. Quick, go there! The ripple attracted the great beings in distance, and Luo Feng was still trying to run away like a frightened bird. Quick! Stop him! Ba Xiu Knight transmitted his voice. Beings from Thorn Ring Alliance, we've already attracted attention. Although the knights from other races are still far away from us, the longer we spend here, the more likely those other races will arrive here following the energy ripples. We won't be able to get anything if everyone is here. How about we cooperate with each other? Damn it! The 3 Universe Knights from Thorn Ring Alliance were all nervous, but Luo Feng was too swift. He was able to turn his direction and change his speed at will. And with that spiritual force true treasure weapon, the 5 failed to encircle him. Another reason for the delay was that the beings from the Thorn Ring Alliance and the Northern Territory Alliance were not cooperating. The 4-hoofed knight transmitted his voice. Okay, let us cooperate. Let us kill Luo Feng together, and as for his true treasures, we'll see how powerful we are. Okay, Ba Xiu Knight agreed. They wouldn't he divide the true treasures equally. After all, they were from different alliances. It would be a joke if they believed in equal distribution. The 5 Universe Knights officially formed an alliance. They started to block Luo Feng from different directions by encircling him. He now had less and less space to change direction. Besides, Kubai Knight and Jiqi Knight had spiritual force weapons, which put Luo Feng in a worse situation. Hong! Suddenly, golden, tumbling waves showed up in the sky. They covered an area with a diameter of 19 million miles, enveloping those Universe Knights. It's a domain! It's a domain-type valuable, we can't catch him anymore! Jiqi Knight shouted with haste. The resistance from the domain is not strong. It might only be a domain-type treasure, not even a top-tier treasure. Quick, catch him! All 5 Universe Knights were stunned by the endless waves, and Luo Feng took the chance to escape their encirclement. However, they quickly found out that the waves didn't have strong resistance, and it wasn't even a top-tier domain-type treasure. If it were a domain-type top-tier treasure, it would have been more valuable than an ordinary true treasure. The resistance is not strong. Catch him! All 5 Universe Knights returned to outflanking Luo Feng. Although the resistance was not strong, it made it much easier for Luo Feng to dodge and stall for him. Haha, look! It's the human, Luo Feng! It's Luo Feng! Quick! 3 teams flew from different directions. It was difficult for them to see clearly what was going on in the waves, yet Luo Feng was the one who moved the fiercest and most quickly. Although everything in the waves appeared blurry to them, they could tell which shadow was Luo Feng through the true treasure wing and the beast god formed by spiritual force weapons. The human Luo Feng came here as well. Look, it's the Thorn Ring Alliance! Ha! And Ba Xiu Knight from the Northern Territory Alliance! No wonder they're trying to encircle him. It's the human, Luo Feng! Quick! Luo Feng has at least 6 true treasures, and one of them is a soul-type true treasure. Go! There were now a total of 8 Universe Knights in 3 teams. They rushed into the golden waves. In the waves from 9 Tiger River, Luo Feng was peaceful inside even though he appeared to be in a panic. Another 8, he thought. From the Demon Alliance, the 9 Territories Alliance, and the Bug Race Alliance. Oh, there's a Universe Overlord among them. Luo Feng nodded. 12 Senior Universe Knights and 1 Universe Overlord. Time to reel them in. Luo Feng finally manifested all his power. Hong! He burned his godly power infused in the 9 Tiger River. Gold Law Domain arrived at the same time, merging with the 9 Tiger River. Hong! Long! The resistance within the golden waves became much fiercer and denser, as if it had transformed from harmless stream to strong glue. The resistance surged threefold, making it incredibly difficult for the 12 Senior Universe Knights to fly.